to another episode of Addiction Uncovered, where we talk about the truth behind addiction and hear inspirational stories of recovery. I'm your host, Jill, and today I'm joined by Mallory. Mallory struggled with addiction for over 10 years, starting in high school. In 2014, she lost her brother to suicide, and her world went black. After a few hospital stays and treatment attempts, she entered a recovery program in 2020, and it changed her life. She earned her associates in chemical dependency and a bachelor's in human services, and now is a case manager helping people struggling with mental health and addiction. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So tell us where your struggle with addiction started.
So I would say it started when I was in high school. It really picked up in 2014, but it started in high school. I live in Blair, Nebraska, a small town. So for fun, what we did was drink and cruise, which isn't great, but we would drive on the roads and just cruise around and drink. And to me, I wasn't drinking to like have fun. It was more to like black out. And like looking back at it, like I see it as a problem now, but back then I just thought it was a normal thing for me. So that's kind of where it started and picked up at.
Did you notice that other people that you were hanging out with were kind of doing the same thing, or were they doing more social drinking, or what did that look like in comparison?
Yeah, looking back again, like I noticed a lot of them were not blacking out. Like I would be the only one blacked out, throwing up, not remembering what happened the night before, where they would have a few drinks and be having fun. They'd be able to like go out in the town and I'd be the one passed out and they'd have to take me home drunk. Wow. So I was one of those.
Is that how it started out, or was it you started a little slower and then it escalated from there, or was it just out of the gate?
I would say it started slow because we couldn't get our hands on alcohol. So it would just start with like a My card we stole from our parents or a beer that we stole from my brother, any of that. But then once we were able to find somebody to give us alcohol, it turned into like I was chugging it and I was blacking out pretty quickly. Yeah.
That's scary.
It is. It was really scary.
What'd your friends do when that was happening? Like, did they, I mean, obviously you're here, which is wonderful because some kids in that position, they don't make it, which is really scary and sad. But what do you know, like, what were your friends doing to help kind of keep you safe and protected during that blackout time?
I feel like they all would get annoyed, obviously, because I'd be the drunk one throwing up in their cars, all the things, and they like would always have to babysit me, and that was never fun for them, I'm sure. But to me, like, I didn't think anything of it back then. I was just thinking I was having a good time, but really, like, then they probably weren't drinking like me because they were having to take care of me.
A lot of people who kind of come out of the gate and are drinking really heavily like that, we can look back a little bit further and say there was something going on at home, or maybe they saw it as a kid, or lots of trauma or other things, and you just share what you're comfortable with. But now, sober and reflecting back on that, is there anything that you think triggered that immediate from nothing to blackout?
I know, like my family, I come from alcoholics, so a lot of, like my mom, my dad, a lot of my aunts and uncles are alcoholics. I remember my mom having conversations with me saying, like, don't have a drink because, like, it runs through your blood, like, it's going to be a thing that might turn into, like, alcoholism, and then one day I just did it anyways and didn't even think anything of it. But I don't have, like, a traumatic story. My parents got divorced when I was 4, so I don't know if that had any play with it, but I had a good life. I didn't see my mom was an alcoholic, but I never had to see her drink, or I don't remember it, so I never I don't know if I don't know. It just, one day I got a hold of alcohol and I loved the way I felt on it, so I just...
But your family was having conversations with you about, like, hey, be careful because this does run in the family, and, you know, we know that about 50% of a person's predisposition to having an issue with substances has to do with genetics, and it has to do with that component of it. And so I guess it was good that they were having the conversation to let you know, hey, something to look out for. But it doesn't always mean that, especially as a kid, that we listen to that and go, oh, yeah, you're right.
Right.
I probably
like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Right? I'm going to do whatever my friends are doing. And thinking about it, too, like coming from a small community, do you think that played any part in it, of just not having a lot of other outlets or things to do? What's that like within a small community?
I want to say yeah, because growing up, all we had was like a bowling alley and we had a movie theater. We were always bored, so like we just chose to drink, and that was the thing to do. That was the cool thing to do, and it would keep our Friday nights going. So I would say that we were probably bored and we chose to drink alcohol.
And I'm sure that's pretty common.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the others that I've interviewed too, I kind of had similar stories. You know, we talked to people from Fremont and just other areas that just are a little bit more limited on things to do. Well, actually, when we're grown-ups, because we're grown-ups now, and we look at those communities, we're like, there's actually some pretty cool things happening around here, right?
That's how I feel now, because I'm still in Blair.
Yeah.
And I'm still finding things to do now.
But as kids, we're like, this place is boring. Let's get out of here, right?
Yeah. Let's drive the country roads, because that's safe, right?
Right,
You know?
exactly, because there's no one else on the road, so you don't have to worry about it. So fast forward just a little bit. So you mentioned that you'd been drinking really heavily starting in high school and blacking out pretty often. What did it continue to get worse? Did it get to a point? Did it continue that way until you had this tragic loss with your brother? Walk me through that.
So in high school too, I got in trouble a lot. So I mean, all in, I feel like I got 11 or 12 MIPs. Small town, so cops were always following us. I mean, they knew we were not a good car when we were driving around. So we'd get pulled over, MIPs. I'd go to court, they'd give me a fine, I'd keep doing it. So I got through high school, I graduated, and I went to Wayne State College for a semester, but I was just partying. I didn't take school serious. I knew I needed to come home because I was wasting money. So then I came home and I just my life just kept, I would still drink, I would work jobs, I would quit jobs, all the things. And then I finally was like, okay, I want to get my life together. So I went to Job Corps and was hoping from there I was going to change my life. And then that's when 2014 happened and I lost my brother at Job Corps. So
tell us a little bit more about that if you're comfortable.
No, I am. So my brother also was an alcoholic. In 2014, so he had a baby and he was with his fiance. They moved to Alaska and she was basically over the alcoholism. So she said, you need to get sober or there's not going to be a future with us. So he came home to try to get sober. And this is when I was at Job Corps. He was at home at treatment. And then he came home from treatment and we thought everything was fine. He was, now that we look back to it, he was drinking at home, just lying about it. And then my mom came home one day and found him. And I was at Job Corps. So I was literally like a week away from taking my final test and able to come home and then be whatever I was choosing to be at that point. And I had to come home because he did that. And then I went back and I didn't end up passing that test because my head was gone. And it just, my world went black.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that must have been like for you. You were how old at the time?
21. I had just turned 21.
You turned 21. And how old was your brother?
He was 22.
Okay. Oh, so really
young,
close in age.
Yes,
so I'm
close.
assuming you guys close growing up too?
Yes, very close. And we're thankful he had a daughter. So she's literally his twin and everything about her reminds us of him. So I'm so thankful for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So trying to pick up the pieces after that, you went back to Job Corps.
Yeah, it was hard.
Tried
it was really
what
hard.
you could, but anybody could look at that situation and go, well, of course. How do you even have your mind in the right place to do anything, let alone accomplish the end of something like Job Corps, right? That's a lot of work to get to. It
was. And I obviously wanted to be with my family, but I knew maybe I could pass this test and maybe my life would change, but no, I couldn't. I didn't. I absolutely didn't pass that test.
So let's talk about the blackness. So you lost your brother. It's tragic. Came back from Job Corps. What was going on at that time?
So I came back. I'm pretty sure at the time I moved back in with my mom, and I was more worried about blacking out every single weekend, just so I didn't have to feel it. Just so really I didn't want to believe that he would do something like that to us. And even up until I got sober is when I finally grieved the process of losing my brother. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to I just imagined that he was still in Alaska. So that's something I did. I blacked it out so that I didn't have to feel it. And it only finally when I grieved it, it was my world changed because I finally processed my brother's not here anymore, Right. So yeah, my world was black. It was just I moved home with my mom. I was working jobs. I'd start jobs. I'd lose jobs. I'd drink. I'd lose jobs. It just was a whole cycle that just carried on until my mom was scared for me. And so I knew she was, so I was okay, I'm going to go to treatment for you. I'm going to do it because you want me to get sober. And so I went to Valley Hope, I think. I went to multiple treatments, but the first one I went to was Valley Hope. And I remember doing it because of my mom. It wasn't for me. I didn't want to get sober. So of course I graduated the program and a week later I came home and I was back and running because I made mom so proud, so happy. And then, I came home. I still didn't process my brother. So I still went back to drinking, but same lifestyle. I would work, start a job, drink, lose a job, all the things.
What was that cycle like?
It was so draining. And all my friends were doing better in life. Like they were still drinking with me every weekend, but they had a full-time job. They'd work Monday through Friday, and I would start a job, and then I wouldn't, and then I would just be sitting at home waiting till Friday hit so that my friends would be there, and then we could go out and drink, and I could get drunk, and it would look normal because I was drinking with my friends.
And how are your friends feeling about this at the time? I wonder what they would say now.
I mean, looking back now, like I look at those friends and they're all still in the same alcohol, like still drinking. They're all doing the same things. Like when I look back at them, but when back then, like I know that they were scared for me because like it wasn't just like a fun drinking Mallory. Like they could drink and they could casually drink and it was very much normal. But mine was like, take me to the hospital, get my stomach pumped, or pass out and do not remember how I got home, even though I maybe even drove that night. Like it was scary. Like I really could have killed myself, and thank God I didn't, because my mom would have had to struggle with that again after losing my brother.
And that's what I was thinking too when your mom's like, okay, we got to get to treatment. Something's got to change. I was just thinking, empathizing with her of how scared she probably was.
Yeah, she was the entire time. She was scared. So then fast forward, I was like, okay, I'm sick and tired of this. I was drunk one night. I Googled, I want to get sober. I need help. So like, I called some number that I found on Google. They literally booked me a flight the next day to Las Vegas, and I went to a treatment in Las Vegas. I stayed there for months, got sober, came back, same thing. I wasn't ready. Again, I think I was doing it for my mom. Forever, I was doing it for my mom, not for myself.
Yeah. And some would say, like, that's okay, as long as we plant the seed and we get you to where you need to be, that might be what will make it last. But recovery is really about you.
Yeah.
Sometimes those kind of nudges will get us in the right direction, and eventually we'll be able to see, like, oh, yeah, this is probably a good idea.
Right.
Right? And then we buy into it. But sometimes when people are pushing us, it just doesn't feel like it'll stick as much.
No, not because you have to do it for yourself. Otherwise, it's not going to, like, I realized that, like, after multiple treatments, it wasn't until I was ready that it actually stuck, and I'm still sober, you know?
So how did you know that you were ready, or did you even know?
I don't think I really knew.
Right?
Yeah. So, so 2020 comes, and I think finally I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm so done. I saw everybody in my life, like, going to college, graduating, starting families, and I was here just worrying about how can I get my next bottle of alcohol. So finally I was like, okay, I'm done. And this time, not my mom, like this time I reached out to Santa Francis House in downtown Omaha and said, like, I need help. Like, I really, like, I'm so tired of this. I need help. I went there. And it was like COVID time. So meetings weren't like, we weren't going out to meetings. It was all Zoom. So like, that was scary at first because I was like, I need that one-on-one. I need that in-person meeting, but I still stuck it out. Like, I still stayed there. And I like stayed there up until like I almost graduated. And then I decided, like, okay, I can do more on the outside, and I'm ready and I'm strong enough. And so I went and I moved in with my sister and her kids and her fiance, and started hitting meetings. Like, it was like actually something clicked, which was crazy. I never thought I would get to that.
Well, I can imagine too in 2020 that it was probably very limited on being able to get in because the doors were closing, right? So it's already hard enough to find the kind of treatment center that you need and what's going to work for you and how can I get in? I'm on a wait list. I have to do all these things, these hoops to jump through in order to get in there. And then you're trying to do it during COVID,
right?
Which then already limits everything.
It really does.
So to me, I look at that as, man, you were ready and you were persistent and resilient to say, now is the time.
Right. And I'm surprised too, because like I said, like I come home to my sisters and then I'm expected to be on Zoom meetings and not like in-person meetings, which like I feel like would have done me better, but I did it. I did every single day. I'd get on Zoom and I'd just make sure I did it. And I did that for at least 60 days. I did it consistently every single day. And then it just, I mean, a year hit and like it just kept hitting. And I'm like, okay, this is actually going to stick. Like I'm actually going to like stay sober, like, which was crazy.
Yeah. And what was that like then for you to say, okay, this is my new lifestyle?
It was like, it was just so cool because like that's something like I wanted my brother so bad to get. So like I know him looking up, like is looking at sober Mallory and like cannot believe like she made it where she is today. And even so, when I was in treatment like this last time, I had a counselor and I was like, I so badly want to help others that are struggling with addiction. Like that's something I really want to do, but I don't think I could go to school. Like I don't think I can afford it. And she was like, well, why don't you just apply for FAFSA and just see if you can get approved. And then boom, while I was there, I got approved. So then the second I got out of treatment, I was applying for Metro Community College and just hit the ground running with that and stayed in school, through my sobriety, really.
So how did you manage all the stress of keeping up with your sobriety and your recovery plan and going through school? And were you working at this time too?
I was.
And then rebuilding relationships and doing all of these things. How did you manage all of that without drinking? Because it sounds like that was kind of your go-to to numb out before.
Yeah. I just circled myself with the people that cared for me, and they were there the whole time, and I just wasn't letting them be there for me. So like my sister, my mom, I was letting them be there for me finally. And it was hard at first because they didn't trust me. I had lost all trust, like with all the lies, and they were still there, but they were very disappointed in me. So it took a lot to build that, probably 2 years, I'd say, to get that trust back built. But it was building that relationship back with them and, holding the job down and keeping myself busy on days that maybe I didn't want to get out of bed because I was depressed and wanted to drink. I can remember one time that I was like, I was going to slip up. Like I had just gotten out of treatment. My sister was going to the hospital to have a baby, and I knew I was going to be home alone with the kids. And so I was like, I could text my mom right now and say, you should send me money so that I can go get toys for I could have said whatever to get that bottle of alcohol. And I literally just called my mom and I said, hey, I'm having thoughts. Like I really want to drink right now. Can you come over and just spend time with me? And she did. My mom would just drop what she was doing just to be with me and the kids. So she did that. And I have not had even a bit of like thinking I want to drink since then. Like it just went out of my mind. And I kept myself busy with school. Even like the most stressful days, I would just take a breather. I would go spend time with my nieces and nephews because they're my life. And it would make me not want to have a drink because I don't want them to not know who I am. And they didn't for years. And like my relationship with them like means everything to me.
Yeah, you missed out on some time.
I did.
Them.
I really did. Even like the baby times, like so they don't remember, but like I do, and like that to me is hurtful to not be there for like those moments.
Yeah, that's the beautiful gift of sobriety is that you can be present for all of those moments because those moments do matter.
They do.
Just because they don't necessarily remember them, it's all part of us building relationships with them.
It is, and building that trust with them. So like I'm the favorite aunt, and I'm going to keep that title. But if I wasn't sober, that wouldn't be a thing. They wouldn't even know a Mallory, the Mallory that they know today.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to show up for them in the way that you are now.
No, exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's crazy too because my niece, the one that my brother had, she is now 13 years old. So like she's like starting to like realize what alcoholism is. She's realizing like what her dad did. And so like it's huge for me to be that role model for her and for her to know like she's starting to ask questions and I'm sharing, this is where I went and this is what I did when I drank. And that's why we don't want you to go down that. And as of right now, she doesn't want to touch it. And that's our hope is like for it to stick. But it's so cool to like have her see how far I've come.
Yeah. Why is that really important for you to have those open conversations with her? I mean, it sounds like from what you're saying, it sounds like your parents and your mom did talk to you about that initially. But now you're having those really open conversations with your niece. Why is that important to you?
I don't ever want her to go through what I went through. And it has to be hard to be a 14-year-old and not know why like your dad committed suicide. So like I know she could choose to go to drinking or use drugs or anything like that just to black out that pain. And if I tell her what happened to me, I feel like even if I would have gotten more like, okay, don't drink alcohol, but like what can it actually do to me? If I would have known more, maybe and I'm not saying that I would have stayed sober, but like maybe my life would have looked a little different. So if I can tell her details of like stories of mine that maybe will like make her like, oh wait, I don't want to have that drink of alcohol, or at least wait till I'm 21, and not start at such a young age. It's just important. I don't want her to go down that road.
Yeah. So I'm sure there are a lot of people that will relate to your story of turning to alcohol as a coping strategy for such a tragic loss. And I know the drinking was a pattern before that, but it definitely escalated and continued after you lost your brother. What do you tell people who have a traumatic loss like that, who need help and and you don't want them to turn to alcohol instead. You don't want them to numb those feelings. What are other alternatives on how they can heal?
I would say therapy. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to get medication for being depressed. I always told myself I would fix this. I would fix the inside of me and nobody else would. So I would point them to therapy that when I finally went to therapy, it truly changed my life because I was able to process what he did, why he did, and why I feel the way I do from losing him and blacking it out for so many years. So that and support group, for me, going to a support group with other siblings that have lost a sibling to suicide was really huge for me because I'm connecting with others that know how I feel. People will say, "Oh, I'm sorry you lost your brother," but they don't understand until they lost a sibling to suicide. Mm-hmm. So support groups and therapy, I feel those are the number two, two of the things that they should do.
Mm-hmm. So fast forwarding to what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So you've completed your schooling and you have your bachelor's, right?
I do.
Okay. Very cool. And so the work that you're doing now and being able to help guide people in the right direction so they can have this life that you have, this sobriety and this clarity, which is awesome. So tell us about the work that you're doing now and why it's so important to you.
So I'm a case manager up at Dana Village in Blair. And to me, I wanted to be able to give back in my community in any way that I could. So when I saw this job posting, I was like, okay, I'm going to jump in it. I bugged my boss until she hired me to be at have this position. And so to be able to give back and work with others that are struggling with maybe they don't have people, they don't have family, or they don't have people that are showing up for them, being that person means the absolute world to me. I love to give back. I love to be the reason somebody smiles, be the reason somebody stays. And with this job, I get to do that every single day. Every single day I get to work with people that maybe don't have anybody.
Why do you think it's important for them to have this perspective that you have, having gone through it, having had the loss, having had the struggle with getting sober? Why is that so important to have that perspective?
I feel like having somebody that's been there, kind of done it, I feel that can help. You don't necessarily have to do be so, none of that, but I feel being able to connect with people that might have this kind of disease would help them connect more with me. So be able to I can tell them this worked for me and you can try this, or just point them in directions that maybe they didn't know existed, especially when it comes to recovery.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So my last question is, what would you tell someone who is in the midst of addiction right now and really struggling, whether it's through a loss or just in this darkness that you talked about before? What would you want them to know?
That they're not alone, that there's so many people in this world that are struggling just like them. And if they just reach out for the help, they're not going to get judged. There's people there that will show up for them that they never thought was possible or imagined. So I would just say, reach out. Don't do this alone. You're not alone.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. And I'm excited to see all the people that you're going to be able to help. And I'm glad that you persuaded your boss for so long to get the position that you're in now. Because because it is important for people to have someone to walk alongside them that have had that experience before. It's really helpful. I mean, the therapy, like you mentioned, is great. But having your type of perspective in addition to that, that's where people heal, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. All in the town I grew up in.
That's so awesome.
I love it.
Very good. I actually had one last question. Sorry.
Okay.
What's the best thing about being sober?
Being able to have a relationship with people that I never thought was possible, and being the best aunt that I never thought I could be.
The favorite aunt.
The favorite aunt. 100% the favorite. I'm the favorite.
That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mallory. Thanks for sharing your story. Thanks for helping all the people that you're helping. And keep doing the great work you're doing.
Thank you for having me.